Hi, you guys. We're so glad you tuned in. I'm Jenny Remsberg.
And I'm Chrys Howard, and if you are new to us, you've just found It's a Mom Thing, and we're so excited that you did find us. And we are here we say we're here for moms of all ages and in all stages, because we are that ourselves. We're in different stages of our life with being a mom, and even if you're a mom of adult children, you know you are still very much a mom to your family. So we welcome all of you, no matter if you've got little bitties or you've got grown kids.
And not everything that we talk about is mom specific. So if guys come across our videos, you know there's going to be an element of takeaway even for the guys, because what we really want is to do life God's way. So we have a lot of great stuff for you today, and we're just excited you tuned in.
We sure are. Today I just wanted I told Jenny that everybody's talking about this thing about have you named your kids the wrong name? Well, recently I've been seeing that discussion everywhere, so I thought, wow, Jenny's got 4 kids. Did she ever think that she named her kids the wrong name?
You know, that is such an important thing, because when you're naming your kid, you're at your child, your kid, whatever. When you're naming your child, you're actually speaking that over your child. So no, I've never regretted what I've named my children. They're very strong names, and it's just a call up. I've been really, really blessed.
I've never regretted it. However, I think Corey has a little bit. However, Corey Robertson has worked well for her.
Yes.
But her real name is Leslie Corin. And so she's had to deal with that. We chose her middle name, all her, so all that her whole life, what she would say, they would say Leslie, and she would be like, oh, that's me, that's Corey. So maybe.
But she's never gone by Leslie.
No, she
or
never
Corin, even, just
no.
Corey.
And we've always called her Corey from the very beginning. So that's actually a good suggestion. If you think you've named them the wrong name, you can just pick another name.
I would say,
out of the name that you named them.
My names are Victoria Ashley, Benton Wesley, Olivia Ruth Ann, and Nathaniel Lloyd. And all of them have an element of family involved. Yeah. Maybe if the family member's name was not exactly the one I liked, I looked for it in an English version, or like Olivia's name, she was named after 2 grandmothers and a great aunt. And one of the grandmothers' name was Olga. Oh. And I knew my kids were going to be very tall. And I thought, okay, that won't be as flattering as if we switch over to Olivia. Yeah. So anyway, I think all my kids' names fit them. And that's what you find out when you're naming a child. Right. You find that they grow into their name. So you really want to be mindful about not just the coolest name, but what the meaning is.
And I remember when Corey named Sadie, and she wanted to use Kay's maiden name as Sadie's middle name. So Sadie's name is Sadie Caraway. And I remember thinking, okay, that's like the weirdest name I've ever heard. But now we can't think of Sadie any other way than Sadie Caraway. You know, your kids do grow into the name that you give them. And even if you do choose a nickname out of their name, what I found out is whatever you call them, whatever the parents call them, that's what friends will call them, and that they'll end up, well, friends may eventually, like high school, they'll think of some nicknames you may not want them to be called.
or like in our family, when they're young, they name them, like Victoria, when she's almost 5 years older than Benton and the rest. And so when Benton came along, she was Tota, and then came Olivia, and she was Weewa. And then Nathaniel, when he came along, he couldn't say Nathaniel, and so he threw together, my name is Nathaniel, and it became My Fanels.
Yeah.
So we still call them those nicknames.
No telling what'll happen.
Yeah.
With whatever name you name. But I do remember my sister-in-law was so worried because she named her son John David, and she really wanted people to call him John David. She didn't want John, she didn't want David, she didn't want JD. And so I said, well, just keep saying John David. And ultimately, most people do call him John David.
And then you've got Willie. He was Willie. Jess all the way up. And then at home, he was Willie.
He was Willie to his
dad parents.
Mom. I forgot. One of them called him Jess, and one of them, I think Dad.
His dad. Yeah. Y'all talked about it on our radio show.
We talked about it.
Yeah. He was Willie, and then he went into 9th grade or one grade, and there was another Jess. No, there was another. Yes, there was another Jess. So then he took on Willie. I mean, it just
Well,
it's going to morph.
actually, let me clarify that story. Now, it wasn't at that point. When he started working at Duck Commander, it was Jace, Jess, and Jeff. And it just drove him crazy.
That's what it was.
He
yes.
chose Willie,
It was close.
which his name is Willie. It's Willie Jess.
Right.
So he just picked the other name.
So he wouldn't be another J.
So I guess those are some good arguments for having a nickname, because I don't have a nickname. I mean, a middle name. I don't have a middle name, so I have no other option.
But it sounds like it because it's all
It's
one
all
name,
one
but it's
word.
Chris Ann.
Right.
So that's like
So-
Olivia is Ruth Ann.
Yeah, but she's got Olivia Ruth Ann. I'm just Chris Ann, so
Yeah.
I have nothing else to grab onto.
But we call her
That's
Chrissy, Chris.
Yeah, there's always nicknames out there.
Yeah, I've always gone by a
anyway,
nickname.
That's our discussion on
I have.
What's your
In
nickname?
third grade, I tried to go by my real name for 2 days, and then my name is Jeanette Ann,
Oh, that's right.
and
I
so
forgot that. You've
it
always
was
been
just
Jenny.
too much. Just Jenny,
Yeah.
just Jenny. That's
Yeah.
me.
So anyway, that's our discussion on names. Which
Anyway.
is kind of like a big deal now. I've been seeing it on the internet and seeing it on talk
Yeah,
shows.
but today's
and-
names are so unusual. I mean,
They
because
are.
people are grabbing names that are names of countries, cities. I mean, a river.
Fruit.
Yes.
like Apple. Is,
I mean, one of my friends, I love her kids' names. I do love them. They're very unusual, but I love them. Atlee Bliss
yeah,
and River James.
yeah, very.
But I mean, you look at Atlee, and she looks like an Atlee Bliss.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
and the only problem is you will never find those names on a mug at the souvenir shop. That's what I found with Chris Ann. It's like nowhere.
You can't
know.
find it on a pencil.
Not a pencil.
You can
not
order some with
anything.
it on.
Nowadays, you just sit and order your
Yeah.
own. If you want that somewhere, do your
So
own.
we
thing.
had to have our little discussion on names, and now
Yeah,
we have.
That's it. But we're going to actually talk about today the power of the words because I said so.
Right.
Now, it's those words, because I said so, those 4 words,
There
kind
you
of
go.
gotten a bad rap as our society has progressed. We didn't question it at all in the 50s and 60s.
Or
but
70s.
now we seem to be questioning whether there's really power in those and whether, or even if we should use those to our children. We are both here to tell you, yes, you should use those words to your children.
You know, when my dad would say that, I mean, it was just like, okay,
Right.
okay. And you know, it was
But you
freeing.
maybe got a little frustrated. There was a little bit of,
Well, the older you get, the more you
Yeah,
get frustrated.
right.
But I will tell you that I thought, because that's what I had heard, I thought, well, I'm going to explain to my
Right.
kids. That is not the best way to do it. It's just not, because no matter how much you explain, it's not going to be explanation enough to satisfy the fact that they want to do something.
exactly, which is actually our first point, is that they are not, you can't say it enough right ways for your kids to agree with you.
Because it's not what they want to
It's just
hear.
not what they want to hear.
It's just not. You know, I'll tell you what, John Roseman, I got set free whenever the first time I heard him speak, and he said, it's not what's in their best interest. They're not at the place where they can determine all of the variables that have caused you to come to this decision. Just say, because I said so. And then I got that shirt that
Yeah.
said, because I said so.
Well, and
And
here's
it
the
is.
thing.
It's
Our
important.
children, this is where sometimes parents get confused when they have a pet, because they can tell a pet, they can train a pet to do something, and if you train them enough, they'll do the same thing over and over again. So we kind of think, oh, maybe we can do that with our children. But it just doesn't work like that, because children, humans, have this little thing called a free will. So no matter how many times you say it,
And it just gets stronger with
yes,
age.
they can, and God designed us like that.
Yes.
We can change our minds. We can say, no, we don't want to do that. Even if it had been done over and over and over again. We're our little puppy dog that you can really trust that they are going to do the thing that you've trained them to do.
Right.
That's not the case with our children.
No.
So,
No, it's interesting, you know, as my kids got older and began to exercise their free will in their teens, it was surprising to me. You know,
Yeah.
it was surprising to me. But it was so cool listening again to John Roseman when he was talking about raising teens and what to expect. And I guess I just never expected they were compliant kids, and so I never expected them to go, no, I don't want to do that.
right. And it's a
Or
bit of a
why?
shock the first
You know,
time.
so what? But it's completely normal. It is completely normal. And another thing that he said whenever that happens is to, before the opportunity arises, make a plan for when they say no. I was like, I never even thought to make a plan. But that's a great piece of advice. Make a plan so that in the moment you're not shocked and taken off guard.
I mean, you will be shocked, but you're not so shocked that you don't have a plan. If you already have a plan.
Yeah.
Well, another thing to remember about this whole argument is you can't win with an argumentative child. And most of the time, an argumentative child is that way because they have a parent who will engage with them. So this is not about engaging and arguing.
It's best not to.
It's better just to say no because I said so. You're not going to do this thing or whatever. Because once again, no matter how many ways you say it, how kind you say it, how long you explain it, some children are not going to get it because they don't want to.
And you know what? They'll say all manner of things, all manner of comebacks, and you're still just going to have to maintain that position. Because I know there's positive ways, there's negative ways that they respond to that, just because they do want to be heard.
They do.
They do.
Yes.
But there's a time for that, and there's a time when it doesn't work.
And another thing to remember on this whole topic is, so using the words "because I said so" is really a living example of how they will follow God.
Right.
And once they learn, there are going to be a lot of things that God will say to them. Maybe God will say no to something. Maybe he'll say yes. Maybe he'll say wait. But they have to be able to trust in his authority enough to say, I get it.
It's so good.
Whatever you say, God, I will be patient and be willing to do. But if they have not been seeing that modeled in their life, they don't have that living example of how that works. They have to trust you as a parent that your no is because you do have their best interest in heart. And or your yes does, or your let's wait, let me think about that a little bit.
That's why I think it's so important that we do say those no's, even if it's not fun. And we know it's not the popular thing. We're not there to be popular. We're there to be their parents, not their friends. And they do need to see that because that is God. God does things. I mean, his word is so full of all the things that are for our best interest. And when we try to veer off and do it our own way, it doesn't work well for us. But when we follow the path that he has put before us, go according to his instructions that are for our best, it always works out. I mean, it doesn't mean we're going to be without trouble. But, you know, Romans 8:28, everything is going to work out for our best if we are following him, if we are called according to his purpose, if we're looking towards that and being obedient. I mean, there's no better way for our kids to learn than as they come up and we're consistent in that.
Exactly right. Another thing to remember on this topic, because I said so, is it gives the children an understanding of the position you play in their lives. And being a parent to your children is one of the most freeing, securing things that you can do for them.
That's right.
For them to have this understanding that you're the mom, you're the dad, and I'm the child, lets them just breathe and like, okay, somebody else has got this for me until I'm old enough to get that for myself. Now, they're not going to think about it in those terms. It doesn't come to them like that. They don't just go to bed at night and go, oh, praise the Lord. I've got two parents who just said no. They don't do that.
No.
But here's what they do. They go to bed at night and they go to sleep with this security that somebody else is in this house managing things for me and helping me make right choices and right decisions. So it just affirms your position.
So the opposite side of that is if you are not strong in your authority, and that doesn't mean abuse of authority.
Right.
That means just maintaining your position of authority. If you're giving them room to make their own choices and they see in their mind no one in charge, they will rise up and take charge. So if you have a child that I've had friends say, well, they're just so good at being in charge. That is not in their best interest. They're not equipped for that yet. You could let that go in a certain arena, in a certain manner. But overall, the most security you can give your child is to be in charge. That gives them security. That gives them the assurance that they're loved and that they're taken care of. They're not equipped to be in charge at this point. Again, you don't want to be their buddy. You don't want to be their equal. You don't want to be their friend. Not until they're much older. You want to be their parent.
And don't think that us saying all this means that we're saying don't give them responsibilities as they grow up.
Oh, no.
Absolutely. We
Appropriate.
turn over the reins on things. We'll have other shows about that as they get older, as they're able to accomplish a task. Don't ever do that task for them again. Let them do it. That we're certainly saying let them grow where they're supposed to grow. We're only talking about those times when they come to you in that argumentative state and you've already told them no and the arguments keep coming back. This is what we're referring to today. Another important point about because I said so, is that that's just proper training in obeying authority that's going to serve them well the rest of their life.
It just keeps things simpler.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They will have employees who say, do this job. They will have in all areas of their life. In fact, we go to the Dominican Republic every year. When we go into the airport, we land, we go into the airport, the first stop we have to make is hand them $10. We have no idea why. No one has answered that. They are basically saying, because we said so, give us $10,
right.
or you're not going in this country. So there's just so many things.
You're not going to argue that.
You can't argue that. So learning this principle at a young age helps children walk through life, even as adults, understanding that they have to obey authority. There's times when you just have to be obedient.
That's right. You know, and we've all talked about and been aware of the sense of entitlement that we see in today's society. When there is an understanding of authority, that is not so present. It doesn't mean that there's not a propensity to move in that vein when it's all around, because it is all around in today's society. But when there's an understanding of authority, boy, that diminishes that entitlement as well. It's just so important. I mean, I would talk to my kids about the fact that I'm still my parents' child. I'm still, when I walk into their home, I'm their child. It is my place to be respectful and honoring. It doesn't matter the age. No matter the age, I'm still the parent. You're still the child. I'm still the child to my parents, and they're my parents. That is, when we do it well, that stays in place, and it doesn't mean you don't go over into the friendship. Your mother and you have a tremendous relationship, but she's always the mom, always.
She is.
And it's fun because when you need that motherly advice, pick up the phone.
Yes. Well, that's our thoughts today on the words, because I said so. If you have some comment for us, we would love for you to comment. Let us know your thoughts on this topic. We would love to have some interaction with you. Just go on underneath our little deal there and comment to us.
Underneath the screen.
Also, remember to subscribe. We would love that, and to share with all your friends.
And we want to encourage you guys to stay strong. You can do this. This thing called motherhood, it's not always a picnic, but it is the best job you'll ever love, the toughest job you'll ever love. And we want to encourage you today because you're doing a great job. You can stay strong. You can say loving and kind because I said so. You can do it.
Have a great week.